Hello and welcome to another episode with Coach Cameron. You are live and on deck with Coach Cameron, hashtag on deck with Coach Cameron. If you're listening at a later date on a podcast through SoundCloud or iTunes, welcome along and thanks for tuning in once again. As always, you can find our podcast and our Google Hangout programs on your favorite social media channel. Just go to Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and search for hashtag on deck with Coach Cameron to find the latest episodes. And as I said, if you're listening through iTunes or SoundCloud, thank you very much for tuning in again. For those who don't know, the On Deck with Coach Cameron program, the podcast and Hangout programs, are designed to empower entrepreneurs, small business owners, any business owner, and success-minded people with strategies that they can use to excel in business, in marketing, in sales, and also be successful in their lives. Now, with that in mind, today's episode is I've titled it The 5 Rules to Building a Business Owners and Entrepreneurs that join our list and follow our pages and are connected with me on Twitter, on social media, on Facebook. Business. And one thing I always get asked is, how do I improve my business? What have I got to do to improve my business, to make more sales and get ahead of the competition? So I thought what I'd do this morning is come up with 5 rules that I've lived by in my life, and maybe you can apply those rules in your life. Now, they're not really rules that you have to follow. You with me? You don't have to kind of stick within the rules, or it's a do or die. These things are strategies that I've used in my life in my 15 to 20 odd years, either running other people's businesses and or running my own businesses, and they have served me well, and I trust that they serve you too. So let's start off with rule number 1, and that is get your eyes off the money and onto something you love. It's really important when you start out in business, or even if you've been in business for quite some time, and that is not to get stuck on the money. Yes, the money is great. You want to, have a profitable business. You want to make sure you've got a business that can operate without you, that you can operate at arm's length and has a profit at the end of each month or each quarter or each year, and that gives you the lifestyle choices that you want. However, you've got to make sure that you run that business with the right heart. And what I mean by that is that, if you're in a business model that you don't really enjoy, if you're doing something that you're just doing for money, at some point in the future your energy will shift. You'll have a shift in where you can focus your energies, because you're just being drained all the time. You're just pushing this thing forwards and forward. Stress will come. There'll be things come out of nowhere that'll take you by surprise, and unless it's something that you really love with a passion, you'll find it hard to turn up each day and give your absolute best. I know from my personal life, I've always been someone that's created businesses from my own interest and my own passion. And as I said, these 5 rules, and this first one has served me well. I've been a very active young bloke from a very early age. As a teenager, I was involved with sport, swimming, surf, life-saving, triathlons. And so I created businesses that were lifestyle businesses. They were businesses that served the community. They were businesses that coached people. I've had gyms, swimming centers, consulting businesses and coaching businesses. I'm a born coach. I love to coach people. It's my passion. Would I do it if I could do it without the money and I didn't need the money? Yeah, absolutely. But, I've got a family to feed. We've got goals that we want to achieve, so the money. But that's not the focus. I focus on my clients. I focus on my customers and filling their needs and their desires and getting their outcomes, because I'm passionate about what I do. I want to help them be successful. In fact, many of my clients know that I want them to be more successful than I want success. I'm driven by their success. And it was the same when, for those who don't know, I used to be a very high-level performance sports coach. And I always put my athletes in front of my own needs. I wasn't there as their coach to build up a name for myself, although I did do that and did build up a great reputation in the field that I was operating in, and that was swimming and triathlons. However, that wasn't my motive. My motive was to help my athletes achieve their goals. What I wanted more than anything was for them to win a gold medal at nationals. What I wanted more for my athletes more than anything was for them to get a personal best time in finishing an Ironman triathlon. So I've always created businesses, gyms and swim schools, aquatic centers, and coaching businesses out of my passion, out of, where my passion and my love of life is. And that's what I wanted to encourage you first. And that's why I put it as rule number one. The other 4 rules that I'll share with you, you can mix them up and in any particular order. But this first one, I believe, has to be first. You have to have something that you enjoy. You have to be able to do something that you enjoy, that you're passionate about, that you'll turn up each day regardless of the money. And if you can find something that you love, that you're passionate about, that you want to throw yourself at every single day, that you want to give your best effort, you want to put your best foot forward every single day, the money will come, because you'll show up with the right heart. You'll show up with the right intentions. You'll show up with the right consciousness. You'll be ready to rock and roll every day, as we say. So that's rule number one, is make sure that you always, even if you're not in business now that you can feel passionate about, maybe there's something within your business model that you can create that you can feel passionate about. So maybe you're stuck where you are. You're stuck with a business that for whatever reason you got into, and it's working for you, it's paying the bills and whatever. Well, maybe there's something that you can create within that business that you can feel passionate about. And if you've never been in business before, let me just encourage you, make sure you get into a business and do something that you're passionate about. If you're great with your hands, do something that you're good with your hands. One of the things I love doing, and I'm not very good at it, is I love watching the Master Chef and the cooking type shows. Don't ask me why. I'm really bad at cooking, right? But I just love to watch how passionate these chefs are. You watch the Gordon Ramsays and the Jamie Olivers of the world on their cooking show, and they're so passionate about their food, and you can see it in their eyes, and you can sense it in their voice, and you can see it as that feeling comes through on the television as you're watching them, the enthusiasm, the passion, the drive. And, at the end of the day, it's just food. Someone's going to eat it and it'll be gone, but they put so much effort into it. They put so much passion into it. And that's the type of passion that you need in your business. So rule number one is that you should take your eyes off the money and go with your love. Go with passion. Find the passion in your life and do something that you love to do. Okay, rule number 2 is make detailed plans. Now, there's a saying that goes, if you fail to plan, you're actually planning to fail. And that's true in any area of life. As I said, I've coached many athletes and many sporting teams. And, if you've got a sporting team and you want to win a grand final, if you don't have a plan, you're not going to win the grand final. You've got to have a plan. You start the season with a plan. You start the season, the new year, with a plan, and that plan is to build a winning sports team, or build a winning team, in sport, whatever it is that you're coaching. If you're a sports coach, and the plan is to win the grand final, so you put the people in the right positions, you train them the right way, you get in the specialist coaches, you bring in a physiotherapist, you bring in a psychologist, and you put things into play, and you create a plan where you can take this team at the start of the year and you can win a grand final. Well, it's the same in small business. You need to create a detailed plan for you to have your best year ever at the end of next year. So as you're planning a new year, take some time out. Over the Christmas and New Year's break, and if you're listening to this at any other time, well, we're coming up to Christmas at this point of time, and we're in December, about 8 or 9 days from Christmas, depending where you're listening from. And the New Year is always an exciting time. People make what we call New Year's resolutions, right? But people never follow through on those New Year's resolutions because they're just New Year's resolutions. One of the worst things you can do is plan at New Year's. But I want you to start creating a mind map, start getting some ideas about how you want your life and your business to look like in the new year. And if you're listening to this at any other date in the future and it's not New Year, well, hey, just take stock now and do it now. You don't need New Year to make new plans, right? You don't need a new year to make new plans. You can make new plans right now. So when you're creating a new business and you want to be successful, one of the rules that you've got to do is you've got to create a detailed plan. Maybe you've been in business for quite some time, and you're just finding that the business, the profits, the sales, maybe they've leveled out, maybe they've plateaued. Well, can I encourage you to create a new plan? If your business has plateaued, if your business has gone backwards, if you're doing negative sales, if you're not getting the sales that you used to get, well, maybe it's a time that you create a new plan. Maybe you get a new plan, a new marketing plan, a new sales plan, a new sales and marketing plan, a new plan for your team, a new plan for your customers, some new price points, some new special offers, but create a plan and set it out. So what are you going to do this week? What are you going to do next week? What are you going to do in a month's time, in 2 months' time, in 3 months' time? What are you planning to do in 6 months? Create a 6 or 12-month plan on a timeline so you can physically see what it is that you want to achieve. I can remember back to the very first time that my wife and I started our very first business. And we were on Lizard Island. Now, for those who aren't from Australia or don't know where Lizard Island is, it's up in far north Queensland. And Lizard Island is a very exclusive island, but it also happened to be a national park. And so what we did was that we went camping on the island. So we turned up to this exclusive island where we flew in, and this is going back 15, 20 years now. And we flew in with all these rich people to this rich island. And as they're getting off, one lot of people are going to the resort and the other people are going to the camping ground. And we happened to be, the 4 or 5 people going to the camping ground because there was only 3 or 4 sites. So you had to book the camping sites out in advance. And we booked it 6 months in advance to get that camping site. But anyway, we're staying on this exclusive island. We're enjoying the same beaches that the people who have paid $1,500 a night, right, are enjoying, and we've paid something like $15 a night. So we're enjoying the same beaches, the same water, with the same diving, the same snorkeling and everything. And we could even eat at the restaurant's bistro every night. So it worked out really cool for us. But on the last day there, we stayed there for about a week, and we had a fantastic time. And one of the things we did on the last day was we created a detailed plan for where we wanted our future to go in relation to our business. And we sat down on the beach one morning, and I can specifically remember, and we tell this story to our friends. We sat on the beach one morning and we created our business out of thin air. We created the plan for our business. We talked about what the business's name was going to be, what types of people we were going to hire, what were our goals in the first 6 months, the first 12 months, the first 2 years, the first 3 years, what the colors were going to be, what the marketing was going to look like, who was our ideal client, who would we want to attract, who would we want to repel, who would we want to dominate, what sort of people in the community did we want to attract and look after and have as clients, where would we want the location of that business. We mapped out a detailed plan. We literally created a business out of thin air, if you like. We had the ideas on paper, and then when we came back from our trip away on Lizard Island, we then set about step by step, ticking off those things to do and creating what was an idea and creating, something that became a reality. And that business, for those who don't know, became one of the most award-winning businesses of its kind in our local region. In fact, that particular business that we created out of thin air on the beach one morning at this exotic island called Lizard Island in far north Queensland, that business not only became one of the most award-winning businesses of its kind, but literally dominated the local area in what was a niche market. And it was all created with 2 people sitting down and creating a detailed plan. So let me encourage you, if you haven't created a plan for your business, if you're about to go in business, if your business has plateaued, for whatever reason, now might be a great time to create a plan for your business. Create a plan for your business and watch what will happen to the growth in sales. You'll be more effective with your marketing and your messages. You'll attract the right people to come and work for you. You'll even get better customers. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. If you plan for certain things in your business, and if you plan the right words, the right, the marketing messages, you'll actually attract better quality clients. So I can't say enough about having a detailed plan for you to be successful in your business, and that would be rule number 2. Okay, So moving on, rule number 3, learn to have fun with selling. Now, what I mean by this is, excuse me, a lot of people have a negative association to selling and sales. And selling and sales doesn't have to be negative. In fact, it can be quite the reverse. You know, there's many people who say that, you know, people like car salesmen or real estate agents, you know, you've heard the saying, how do you tell when a car salesman lies? His lips are moving. Well, you know, I think that's a bit hard because I know many car salespeople. I know many real estate agents, and yeah, their job is to sell. Their job is to sell a product, and they do it really well. But they couldn't help people if they don't know how to sell, because there's certain things that you have to do in a certain way to help someone, to help them make the right decision. You know, a professional salesperson will be able to ask the right questions. They'll be able to know when to close. They'll know when to stop selling and when to start closing, and not go back to selling. They'll know how to negotiate. And what you need to do as the business owner, the entrepreneur, the success-minded person, is that you need to make selling fun. Make it a game, because that's all it is. You know, you've got this person who's a prospect, or this, you know, a couple who's a prospect. They come into your business and you want to make it fun. You know, just relax. Don't think of yourself as a salesperson. Think of yourself as someone who's helping someone make the right decision. Because if you don't help them make the right decision, and if they don't buy from you, they could make a mistake and buy from one of your competitors. And you know that you've got the best products and services. And if you know that you can serve these people better than anyone else in your marketplace, well, then you've got to do your absolute best to make the sale and to stop them buying from the competition. And, you know, your competition may be online. They may leave your store and then go and shop online from a complete stranger who they've never met before. And maybe they can get it at a cheaper price. And maybe, yes, that's all true. But hey, maybe they won't get the after-sales service. Maybe they won't get, you know, the call back in a week or two to make sure that everything's working okay. Maybe they won't get, you know, looked after. Maybe, you know, they can't recommend that shop to their family and friends because, you know, they had a bad experience or something came and, you know, it wasn't quite complete. I know when I've bought things, you know, online, often I can remember I bought a video camera, and the video camera was $1,500. It was a HD video camera, great camera, and I saved myself $300. But the camera came with a plug that I couldn't use in Australia. The adapter was wrong because it came from another country. It was obviously drop shipped to Australia, you know, from, you know, another country like Singapore, Malaysia, or China, or wherever it came from. But, you know, I saved $300, $400, but then I had to go out and buy myself a power adapter, you know, to plug it into the right socket. Now, you might say, oh, well, you know, that wasn't a big deal. It was only $50, $100 for the adapter, and you still save $200. Yeah, but it was the inconvenience then to go out and find the adapter. I wanted the camera to be pulled out of the box and ready to go. And, you know, had I had someone who could help me in the local region, I would have bought from them. But believe it or not, I went to 2 major electrical appliance stores and not one person could help me. Not one person asked the right questions. What am I using this for? What would you like? In fact, I tell a story from stage that one of the stores that I went to when I was asking about video cameras and what they do, one of them said to me, look, one of the do is go home, find the camera you like online, then come back to the shop and let me know, and I'll see what I can do. Well, that was crazy because you know what I did? I followed his instructions. I went home, I looked at the cameras online, but I didn't go back. I found one I liked and I pressed buy now. You see, that's the crazy thing. He didn't make selling fun. He sent me out of the store without making the sale. So he didn't help me get what I wanted, right? So as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a success-minded person, learn to make selling fun. Do whatever you can to make selling engaging. You know, look at it as a way for you to develop a relationship with another human being. Look at it as a time for you, you know, to have a game with someone, to play with someone, and to play full out and give your absolute best so you can provide them with the right services and needs that's suitable for them. So that would be rule number 3, and that is learn to have fun while selling. Because, you know, one of the other things I just read in my notes is that you can't help someone until you close them on a sale. And there's nothing wrong with closing. Closing isn't a negative word. But until you close someone and until you close a sale, you can't begin to solve their problems. You can't begin to help fulfill their needs and solve the problems that they have, which is why they came to you in the first place. It's why they rung you up. It's why they knocked on your door. It's why they left you a message on your website. They're looking for you to help them, and you can't begin to help them if you can't close them. So have fun whilst selling. Okay, rule number 4, and this is a really short one, is just always focus on your customers. You've got to keep your eyes on your customers at all times. And if you've been in business for any length of time, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, hey, if you've been in business for 20 years, you're doing something right. You're probably already focusing on your customers, and that's great. However, if you've been in business for some time and you're getting a bit stale, or if you're new to business, can I encourage you to always focus on your customers? Always make sure you have your customers' best interests at heart in all your messages that you do. Your marketing, the way you communicate to them, the way you serve them, the way that your staff speak to them. Have systems in place that wow your customers, that impress your customers. You just ask yourself, what can you do differently this week that's going to impress your customers and add the wow factor to your business? What can you do this week to make sure that your products and services are better this week than what they were last week, or are better this month than what they were last month, or are better this year than what they were last year? How can you make those improvements for your customer? Because at the end of the day, the customer is the one who pays the bills. I often say to people that you don't really have a boss. Your customers are the boss, and they pay the bills every single day. And that's why you must make sure that you keep your focus in your intentions to do well on your customers. Provide them with outstanding service. I often say to people, provide your customers with the type of service that no one else can, or no one else will, or no one else is prepared to give them. And you will be their most, favorite person to deal with in your business or your target market. Now, the last rule that we're going to finish off with is dominate your marketing by using digital marketing. And what that is what you're watching now. How can you use digital marketing? How can you use webinars and podcasts and blogs and social media and lead generation pages and websites to dominate your target market? There's been no better time in history than now where you can compete on a level playing field more than ever before. A $2 million business can take on a $20 million business. A $200,000 business can take on a $2 million business. A $200,000 business can take on a $20 million business. The playing field has been leveled due to the power of technology. And it's right there in your hand. It's right there. You're watching it right now. How can you use the technology that's available to you, the digital marketing? You can create a website that looks just as good as someone with a $2 million or $20 million budget, even if you're a $200,000 business. It doesn't matter where you are in that scale, 200,000, 2 million, 20 million, 200 million, wherever you are, you can compete on a level playing field with the biggest and the best in the industry through what you use and how you use digital marketing. You look at social media and how many people build fans and followers on social media. You can do the same. You can, be a master of digital marketing to capture a whole marketplace that wasn't being spoken to or educated or empowered like ever before. And you can do that as the person who's the go-to expert or the go-to person in your industry by doing what I'm doing. You can get and shoot videos, you can do blogs, you can send out tweets, you can put things on your social media site, you can you can create lead generation pages where you give free reports. Many things that you can do in your business to level the playing field by using digital marketing to attract the right leads and attract the right prospects. So that would be rule number 5. So let's recap before I finish off today of what the 5 rules are to building a highly successful small business according to Coach Cameron Roberts, right? So these are my rules, and as I said, I hope that you use them and you get something out of them, and I know you will. And I would encourage you to apply, one of them to start with. Apply one of these rules and watch what will happen to your business. So rule number 1 is get your eyes off the money and do something you love. Rule number 2 is make detailed plans. Rule number 3 is learn to love sales and selling. Rule number 4 is very important. Always focus on your customer. Rule number 5 is to dominate your marketing by using digital marketing and create a level playing field. Well, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of On Deck with Coach Cameron. If you've been watching the Google Hangout, thanks again. Appreciate that. If you're listening via iTunes or SoundCloud, thanks for downloading this podcast. We are here live every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 9 o'clock on Google Hangouts. Just search for the hashtag On Deck with Coach Cameron. That's hashtag On Deck with Coach Cameron. And for more information about our professional services, mentoring, or if you need help with your digital marketing, or you need some sales training or advice on sales and selling, please visit our website at www.coachcameronroberts.com. And please connect with me on Twitter at Coach Cameron. Go to our YouTube page, which is, you can search for Cameron Roberts. And I'm also on Facebook in the usual places. And again, just search for hashtag On Deck with Coach Cameron. All right, this is Coach Cameron signing out. Until next time, be well and be successful. And I look forward to hearing about how well that you've applied these rules in your business and how well they're working for you. This is Coach Cameron signing out. I'll talk to you really soon.